The textile industry is one of the most polluting in the world. It thrives in brightly lit stores and shopping malls. Cheap clothing, fast fashion. Production has exploded worldwide, along with its toxic emissions. We're buying more and more clothes, but they last half as long. They often end up in landfill sites, far from Europe and out of sight. Is a sustainable shift still possible? To find the answers, we set off on a journey. First stop, Italy.
We've arrived in Prato in Tuscany, just a few kilometers from Florence, and this town has been a European textile centre since the Middle Ages. For Italians, fashion is very important, isn't it?
I work with fashion. I have a clothing shop.
People here like to dress well.
To look unique in a way. Prato is the home of Europe's largest textile district. It's also a circular economy hub. 15% of the world's recycled textiles are produced here. Comistra is a leader in wool recycling. This century-old company gives a new life to tons of used rags, which arrive in this warehouse every day.
60% of raw materials are destined for reuse. Around 35% will be recycled and around 5% will be thrown away or thermovalorized. The clothes arrive in these bags and are sorted by hand. That's how we decide what's going to be reused or recycled.
Once sorted by color, the wool is reduced to fiber and regenerated by these machines. That morning, they're working with black.
The torn fibre you saw earlier has been transformed into a primary material, and the water we use, we recycle it.
This wool fibre, with its reduced environmental impact, will be blended with others to make yarns and fabrics and worn in coats or on fashion catwalks. The circular economy is at the heart of the European Union's sustainable textile strategy, which aims to impose the use of recycled fibres and encourage eco-design, a key value for the head of this company.
When we design a garment, we have to think about it in such a way that when its life ends, it can be easily repaired, recycled and reused. It's what we call the magic circle of the circular economy. Today, we have a great opportunity. The Green Deal and Europe are showing us the way. Sending equipment to the recycling sector could provide a lot of work to many people.
But people still need to buy clothes that are truly sustainable. To combat greenwashing, a QR code passport project is being studied in Europe. It will provide information such as recyclability and the environmental impact of the item. Nicolo believes that it's the story behind the garment and not its price that should drive the purchase. He is the founder of Rifo, a startup that favors natural fibers such as cotton and wool and recyclable designs made from recycled single materials.
What are the technological limits of your industry? Are there certain fabrics that are more difficult to recycle?
Today, most fabrics on the market are bought at low cost and are not recyclable, and that's a problem. Because the best way to make a product profitable is to mix natural and synthetic fibers. Some technologies allow fibers to be separated, but not yet at an industrial level. At some point, we'll have to introduce a recyclability criterion, and we'll be able to say those who make recyclable clothes pay a certain tax, and those who make clothes that aren't totally recyclable will have to pay another.
The European Waste Framework Directive is about to be revised. It is expected that industrial polluters will pay for the selective collection of used textiles. In Prato, a new textile sorting hub will be built next year. The aim is to double the quantity of fabrics collected and modernize the recycling sector. During this report, many people told Euronews the same thing. The priority is to buy less new clothes. But is that really possible? To find out, we headed to Lithuania.
We're in Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania. I'm told it's a bit like the Milan or Paris of the Baltic states. We're meeting a fashion journalist who's going to give us some tips on sustainable shopping.
On one hand, fast fashion kind of provides a lot of people with the opportunity to dress themselves. So in one way it makes sense, but on the other hand, the amount of clothes that they produce is quite catastrophical in my opinion, because they produce a lot more than we can use or than we should even use.
A cheap, good quality alternative is second-hand clothing. In this thrift shop, everything costs €4, and there are some good materials.
No one ever needs to make anything else that is new. The amount of clothes that we already have on this planet is more than enough for every single person that lives here. How many people do we have now? 8 billion? We can just use what we already have here, everywhere, so yeah.
Diamante still prefers to shop on Vinted, the famous second-hand shopping app created in Vilnius 15 years ago, which boasts 50 million users.
Success stories in Lithuania. It's actually the first. Of course I can show. These are the clothes that I liked, that I'm going to buy. And sometimes you can even swap clothing without paying anyone.
Vinted claims that it is helping to curb textile overproduction. The company carried out a major consultation effort with its members a few months ago.
Hundreds of millions of transactions that happened through Vinted. For about 40%, they meant that a new product was not purchased. That means that that new product then doesn't need to be produced. But only 14% of clothing, fashion transactions are second-hand. So we just have a long, long way to go to really make second-hand the default of how people buy.
To round off our trip in style, Diamante has invited us to a special evening.
Have you ever been to a sustainable fashion show? Let's find out together.
That's good.
My head's spinning.
Hi.
A Lithuanian brand specializing in upcycling is presenting its new collection. Behind curtains, carried by a duo of punk designers that a journalist really likes. She wore one of their creations for the occasion.
We decided to use suit and the sport jackets together. So you can go to the office, but later you can go to the party. The fashion for masses are too big and it's growing a lot and we don't need it. We can reuse the things.
They're doing a super good job because their main message is take fast fashion out of fashion, buy something that can be remade.
And that's the end of our journey. See you soon on the road to a greener world.